Welcome to the session of the Beyond Asia Tech Summit. I'm Brian Pack, CEO of Theori, company specializing in offensive cyber. So we focus on how attackers think. So when you think about cybersecurity, you often think about defensive ways, but we find ways to break things. We're pretty good at it. We try to find ways to break things, so that way we know how to fix them and how to prevent from getting attacked. So we're living in an era, as all the other speakers have spoken to, in the era of AI. So where the cyber threats are exponentially increasing. In this context, AI has become an essential tool that helps us stay one step ahead of malicious actors. So without further ado, we'll start. All right, so, sorry. Oh, yeah, there's the title slide. Today's presentation is divided into 5 main topics. Since we don't have much time, we'll jump right in. Let's take a look at the current state of cybersecurity first. According to recent surveys, the average cost of data breach is as high as $4.45 million. That's a lot. In particular, the cloud-related breaches have increased by 75% in the past 12 months. More shockingly, the time it takes for an attacker to carry out a successful attack can be as little as 2 minutes. At this rate, the damage from cybercrime is expected to reach about $10.5 trillion by 2025. I can't even imagine how much money that is, right? That's a lot. Cyber threats are increasing and becoming more sophisticated and serious. So why are organizations so vulnerable to these cyber attacks? There are several factors, but first, consider the high dependency on cloud services. Everyone's transitioning into cloud services, becoming cloud native. In fact, 94% of enterprise companies use cloud services, significantly expanding the attack surface. Additionally, the rapid shift to remote work environment due to COVID, following the pandemic, these has introduced new types of vulnerabilities and security challenges for both commercial companies as well as government. Coupled with the shortage of cybersecurity professionals, the situation has worsened. It is predicted by 2025, there will be a global shortage of 3.5 million cybersecurity experts. So we need more hackers, we need more security experts. All these factors combined are threatening the cybersecurity posture of organizations. The emergence of AI is causing significant changes in the cybersecurity environment as well as all the other fields we just talked about. Let's take a closer look at the impact of AI on cybersecurity. So AI is emerging as a game changer in the field of cybersecurity as well. From an attacker's point of view perspective, AI enables faster and larger scale and more sophisticated attacks. AI can coordinate and automated attacks globally and adapt attack patterns to evade some of the detections that we have in traditional systems. AI-based social engineering has become a large problem, becoming more sophisticated, more trustworthy, creating synthetic media that are hard to distinguish from reality. These lead to a lot of fraud and disinformation campaigns. Also, AI-armed malwares have evolved to be adaptive and enough to break down traditional defense systems. However, AI is also a powerful weapon for defenders as well. With AI, it is possible to detect threats in real time and prevent attacks in advance. Therefore, AI has a significant impact on both the attacker side as well as the defense side. So what specific cybersecurity challenges are organizations facing? Let's take a look at them one by one. Yeah, the challenges in the field of cybersecurity can be broadly divided into 4 categories. Obviously, there are a lot more, but for the time being, we'll just address these 4. The first is cloud security. As I mentioned, a lot of organizations are moving towards cloud. So in cloud environments, issues such as misconfigurations, improper access controls, compliance are major problems. Second are external threats. The attack surface is extensive, including internet-facing assets, whether that would be on cloud or on-premise resources, and expose sensitive information. Third is the vulnerability discovery and management. So managing known vulnerabilities, as well as what's called zero-day, which is unknown vulnerabilities, and unauthorized pages or privileged APIs. Managing those is very challenging. So even if you know the vulnerabilities, it's still hard for you to know all the things that are affected and react against it. Finally, there are difficulties in remediating. So once you find out these issues, identify vulnerabilities, such as developing patch methods, coordinating maintenance schedules. So like when do you have to patch this? And determining priorities. There are a lot of issues that are found. Like which one do you go after first? In fact, there are too many other vectors threatening cybersecurity that are not included in here, such as insider threats, nation-state attacks. Those are real threats that are happening. So now let's look at how AI is being researched and practically utilized in the field of offensive cyber. So first, let's look at the case of AI utilization in the cloud security domain. According to the reports, about 65% of security breaches occurring in the cloud environment originate from misconfiguration. So that takes a large chunk of the attacks. And AI is being used to automatically detect these configuration errors made by humans, further identify attack points that can exploit them. For instance, an AI model analyzing IAM policies. So if you're familiar with AWS or any cloud infrastructures, IAM policies can be difficult to manage it correctly. And AI models can identify potential threats like data breaches or privilege escalation issues by analyzing these policies automatically. AI also can be used for brute force and credential stuffing attacks. So recent surveys also show that there are almost 300 million credential stuffing attempts per day. Credential stuffing attack is, hackers hack into our system and then they get the credentials like your username, passwords, or the security questions, and they use that information to hack into other systems that use the same passwords. That's why you shouldn't be using the same password on all different websites. But these large-scale attacks can become even more severe when combined with AI. Experiments show that AI-based brute force attacks are up to 969% faster and more efficient than traditional techniques where we have dictionaries or randomly generating these words because AI models predict the most likely successful input values and optimize the attack accordingly. So for example here, you can see that we would have like a path for API or directory /home/today. Traditional methods will be just trying out all the words in the dictionary to find the next path, whereas AI prioritizes the most probable paths of words like use. So it can be a lot faster and more effective. The next one we look at is detecting external threats. There are countless exposed assets like API keys or secrets that are out there, making it a very attractive attack surface for attackers. Scanning for vast internet space to find these vulnerabilities is nearly impossible with human power alone. As we saw, there is a shortage of these professionals to look after these. However, AI changed the game. Combining internet scanning with AI technology allows automatic detection of these exposed assets and vulnerabilities. We have a platform called Zint. On our Zint platform is equipped with offensive security AI engine, which extends the traditional URL and internet scanning and provides automated detection of these various security vulnerabilities, potentially dangerous pages, discovering these critical vulnerabilities in our clients' services and products. AI is also used to create intelligent malware, so it also helps the attackers too, which adapts to environment automatically. We can see the study here, but the key here is that the reinforcement learning, so not just LLMs, right? All like traditional machine learning techniques can also be used for cybersecurity or attacking security. Learning agent basically learns the optimal strategy to perform malicious activities while evading detection. It goes through iterations, make sure you still do malicious activities, but still evade the detection. So the agent evaluates its actions and seeks better strategies and becoming increasingly sophisticated and more stealthy. The next up is AI being used for vulnerability discovery. So we want to find, so for hackers, especially for offensive cybersecurity experts, the golden, goal that we want to achieve is to build something that finds vulnerabilities for you automatically. So is that possible? I think it is going to be, and it has some success in some areas in that. Code analysis and vulnerability detection have traditionally been the domain of human experts, but the recent advancement of LLMs is definitely bringing innovation to this field. Using LLMs, it is possible to analyze source code, understand the component relationships, automatically identify potential vulnerabilities. So if you go to ChatGPT or Claude, you can ask for, hey, here's my code, is there a vulnerability? It'll try to detect some of the vulnerabilities. Sometimes it hallucinates and come up with some random, non-existent vulnerabilities, but sometimes it actually finds a vulnerability that is critical. So it depends on how you form these prompts, as well as fine-tuning them if you run local LLMs. Obviously, the biggest change the LLMs bring to the code analysis compared to traditional method is context awareness. Unlike traditional static analysis tools where they match predefined vulnerability patterns with code, LLMs kind of comprehensively understand the context of code or infrastructure configurations, so that way it can infer logic that could lead to vulnerabilities. So this enables much more sophisticated and effective analysis than before. So this is one of the examples that we are experimenting internally. We also work with our customers, and we have to deliver a final report, right? So we write these things in natural language. We also want to embed all the details that we found in terms of vulnerability findings. So we try to generate these reports automatically while keeping it correct and accurate and concise. And this is also being used to generate attack scenarios. So before we go in and try to find vulnerabilities, we want to list down, what are the possible attack scenarios? Like, okay, we know these infrastructure setting, we know this code. How do we go about what are these scenarios that can be vulnerable? And the LLMs were able to generate some of the attack scenarios that our experts were able to generate. Obviously, it didn't hit all of the marks, but it was able to actually cover about half of the scenarios that humans came up with. And sometimes it surprised us by finding different scenarios that are valid, but humans didn't think of. So things are very interesting. What we found interesting here is that we use GPT-4 Turbo, we also use Claude 3 Opus, but we also use some of the custom model with a little bit of fine-tuning. We use a Miku Mixtral's LLM. We actually were able to get a little bit higher, not too much, but a little bit higher score in terms of accuracy and coverage. So on local LLMs have potentials because these generic ChatGPT and Claude models aren't really specifically designed for finding security vulnerabilities. AI is not just limited to detecting vulnerabilities, right? It is also used to verify them through buzz testing. So it can generate input test cases. So that way we can test automatically. Or if we come up with these attack scenarios, we can come up with actual execution, like what do we have to do actually to test these attack scenarios and automate them. And then once they are tested, we can validate, okay, this vulnerability, we thought it was vulnerable, but then it turned out it wasn't. Or yes, we know it's vulnerable and we have the proof for it. So test case generation is another field that can be benefited from AI. Again, once we find issues and validate it, we also want to make sure that we have a lot of data and scenarios in data lake. So that way we can, again, humans can ask questions or get answers. So with the data lake, we can query in natural language like, oh, what are the most common vulnerabilities in the so-and-so industry? We work with a lot of different industries from fintech, automotive, finance, IT. So having these data lake helps us answering those questions. Or tell me the top 10 most urgent vulnerabilities that we have right now, but to patch. These things can be done pretty seamlessly with LLMs. And then real-time detection and monitoring also can be benefited from the AI. It's already being done, and analyzing vast event logs by humans has its limitation. So we detect these anomalies with AI, with machine learning. We save a lot of time. And then there's remediation. Finally, once you know there's a vulnerability, once you know there are issues, you now want to know how to remediate those issues, right? These also we can get help from LLMs because a representative example here is that we do code analysis as well as automatic improvement of security weakness. So not only just tell them how to, what the issue is, but how to fix them, but it can just automatically come up with the fix by providing code patches. So the developers can not only just validate it, but apply them in streamlined basis. So finishing up, as I said, there are a lot of things that AI can help in cybersecurity. It can also hurt. So it is very important that we get a step ahead against the malicious actors. So AI-based security automation consists of 3 stages: detecting security weakness, as well as visualizing these attack paths and knowing correlating these contexts, and then finally deriving optimal response measures like customized remediations and stuff. So finishing up, we are now at a major turning point in cybersecurity. AI advancements are bringing innovation to both offense and defense. Organizations must actively embrace and utilize AI technologies to survive in this environment. Through AI-based security platforms, we must secure threat visibility, establish automated analysis and response systems. And at the same time, we must innovate our security organizations and processes to synergize human and AI effort. So sometimes people drill in too much about technology, and they kind of forget about the human aspect of it. But human in the loop is very effective, right? So human doesn't have to do everything. AI doesn't have to do everything, right? So synergizing human and AI efforts is very important. So cyber threats are evolving every day. What we need to counter them is the powerful tool of AI. However, the challenge lies in how to wield and control this tool simultaneously. With the deep understanding of technology, combined with ethical and social considerations, AI can become a reliable sphere as well as shield. Thank you for listening.